Eve. Today is Monday, but we call it Tuesday Eve, right? In the Pascha. And on this day, if you notice the readings from the morning hours, those who attend the morning hours, there was two events happening this day, today. Today, there were two events happening with the Lord Jesus Christ. The first event, cursing the fig tree. Why did God curse the fig tree? Did not bring fruit. Which is what? Why? She did, like the tree did not bring fruit. What does it mean? Exactly. It had leaves. And since it had leaves, it's expected to have fruits. So it had leaves, that means it deceiving for those who will see it, because if it has leaves, that means it has fruits in it. Even if it has some fruits that's not like reap, but it should have some fruits. That's why it was deceiving. That was the first event when cursing the fig tree, and that's a lesson for us about hypocrisy. Sometimes we show things, holiness or so, but inside our hearts there is nothing, right? So that was a symbol for hypocrisy. Second thing he did is turn the tables of the tax collectors and cleansing the temple. And that was actually kind of strange, because the temple was made for this. The temple was made for people to sell sacrifices for those who wants to come and offer sacrifices. The temple, outside the temple, there was also currency, those who wants to change currency. So that was made for that. So why did the Lord turn over all these things? Why did he act this way, since it is normal? Do you know why? Why did he do that? Yes. It is the house of the Lord, but at that time, during that time, the house of the Lord was made to offer sacrifices to God, to sell sacrifices, animals, and so. And for those people who are coming from different countries to exchange currency. So what was wrong here? Do you know what was wrong? Why did he do that? Does anyone know? They took the focus of, they were supposed to focus on God, but they were focused on this. Not only that, remember the Lord said what? You made it a house of what? What does it mean? A house of thieves. Exactly. So they were misusing. They were misusing the house of God, and they started to misuse the house of God, and that's why they were thieves. And those are the two events that happened today in the morning hours. But during the evening hours of the Pascha, the Lord Jesus Christ, during the 5 hours of the evening Pascha, we will see every time the Lord goes from Bethany, where he sleep over during the night, to where? Jerusalem. In Jerusalem, he teach, and after he teach at the night, he goes back where? To Bethany, and then sleep over. During his teaching in the 5 Gospels in the evening Pascha, during his teaching, one came asked the Lord an important question, and this is, many of us sometimes we ask these questions. I receive these questions a lot. They ask him, Lord, are there few who are saved? Are there few who are saved? Do you remember the answer? Yes or no? Are there few who are saved? The answer was A. How did the Lord answer them? Yes, they are few. No. Do you remember the answer? Someone asked him, Lord, are there few who are saved? Yes, they are few, or no, they are many? Many? Many will be saved? Few will be saved? Did he answer it at all? Did the Lord answer it at all? No one will be saved? No. Okay. So he answered it with a hint. There was a hint, okay? And this hint, he answered it with a hint. He said what? And he said to them, who remember the answer? strive to enter through the narrow gate. Strive to enter through the narrow gate. What does it mean? Did this answer the question? He asked the Lord, Lord, are there few who are saved? The Lord answered, strive to enter through the narrow gate. What's the answer? Few or many? Who can tell me from this answer of the Lord, what did you understand? Few or many? Few? Are you sure? Or many? Or maybe it will be many who will be striving to enter to the narrow gate. Look at the second part of this verse. For many, I say to you, will seek to enter and will not be able. Oh, okay, now he answered, right? So will be few or many? Few. In the Sermon of the Mountain in Matthew 7, the Lord Jesus Christ said this clearly. What did he say? Enter by the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and there are many who go in by it. That's about the wide gate. Because narrow is the gate and difficult is the way which leads to life, and there are few who find it. In the Sermon of the Mountain in Matthew 7, he answered this question was so clear. So there are two ways. Narrow gate that leads to difficult way, but leads to what? Life. And few will enter through it. And wide gate that lead to broad way, but leads to what? Destruction. And many who will enter through it. So there are narrow gate and wide gate. Let's see what are the signs of the narrow gate and the signs of the wide gate. Every one of us wants to go where? Narrow gate, right? Everyone wants to go to narrow gate, right? That leads to life, right? Narrow gate, is it hard? Is it difficult? Or is easy? Difficult, right? Why you want to go to the difficult way? Because it leads to life. Let's see. The Lord Jesus Christ said a couple of things that's a little bit scary, okay? Let's pay attention. When he said about this, he said, you begin to stand outside and knock at the door saying, Lord, Lord, open for us. And he will answer and say to you, I do not know you, where you are from. Then you will begin to say, we ate and drank in your presence, and you taught in our streets. But he will say, I tell you, I do not know you, where you are from. Depart from me, all you workers of iniquity. Can you imagine this? Like they will say, Lord, we ate and drank in your presence, and you taught in our streets. Right? And he will say what? I do not know you. Depart from me. Can you imagine this? Can you imagine this fact? In the other passage from Matthew 7, he will say, not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, shall enter the kingdom of heaven, but he who does the will of my Father in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in your name, cast out demons in your name, and done many wonders in your name? And then I will declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who practice lawlessness. So here, there is a fact here. There is a fact here. The narrow gate is difficult and leads to life, right? And the wide gate is broad way and leads to destruction. The signs of the wide gate, if you want to check the signs of the wide gate, you will see 3 signs. Remember those signs? Can you remember those signs? 3 signs in the wide gate. And we will learn 3 tips to go through the narrow gate, because we all want to go the life. 3 signs for the wide gate. The first sign, if you want to check if you are in this wide gate, broad way or not? Check the first sign. The first sign, the Lord Jesus Christ mentioned many times in this, like during these hours, the evening hours, about the arrogance of the Israelites, the arrogance of the Jewish. They were so arrogant, right? And he mentioned many things in many passages during evening Pascha about this arrogance. And the Lord Jesus Christ himself, he was tempted by this fact, by this pride. Like he was tempted by this. When the devil, he told him to come on the pinnacle of the temple and said to him, if you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, he shall give his angels charge over you, and in their hands they shall bear you up. So he wants to test his arrogance. He wants to test his pride. And sometimes we are tested with this. The wide gate, if you feel any sign of arrogance, then you know that this is a wide gate. You know that this is lead to a broad way. And that's why the Lord Jesus Christ, in many times, like he's saying about self-denial, if anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself. Like, let him deny himself, it means what? Put yourself aside, right? So that's the first sign of the wide gate. Second sign of the wide gate is materialism. If you think about the gate as like three sides, if this is a gate like this, and if this gate, like it's something like you can move, so there is a top part, right, and then like the two sides. Imagine if the top part, like you can lift it up a little bit. So if you can lift it up, that means the pride. If there is a sign, you can lift up this height, so that means the pride, right? Because like you want to feel yourself you are high, you are good, you are holy. Like this is a pride. The two sides, one of them called materialism. So if the pride is to be, the materialism is to have. Materialism is things to have. The Lord Jesus Christ was tempted with this materialism. The devil told him, he showed him all the kingdom of the world and their glory. And he said to him, all these things I will give you. I will give you all these things in the world. I will give you a lot. I will give you all these things in the world. Materialism. What is materialism? Love of money, love of possessions, love of having things. When we love to have things, to get things, this is a sign of wide gate. Imagine there is a top part for the gate and side part and another side part. And imagine like of those people, they are trying to stretch this side, their side, so it make it widen. And other people here, they're trying to stretch this side to make this gate wider. And someone who was on top, like he's trying to lift the top part side to make it widen. This is what's happening. In the world, the devil will send people, and the devil will tempt you to widen the gate. Like, fill yourself up. And some people widen this part, and other people widen this part. If you think about the top part is a pride, and this side is a materialism, things to have. The last one, the third one is what? Pleasures, things to do. Pleasures, things to do. So if the pride, things to be, I wanna be, right? Materialism, things to have. And pleasures, things to do. If the devil tempt you with those three things, feel yourself up high, and he gave you everything in the world, materialism, and he told you, do all pleasures in the world, then this is signs of what? wide gate. He started to widen the gate. Things to do like what? Examples of the pleasure. Eating, it's a desire, but it is a desire, body needs it. Every one of us need to eat, right? If this desire became undisciplined, I have no control over it, then this lust of flesh will become a sign of a pleasure, a sign of widening gate. Addict. If I am addicting to watching, to playing games, if I am addicting to any substance and I can't control it and I have no control over it, this is a pleasure. And this is things that the devil is trying to widen the gate. What else? Bad habits. If I have any bad habits, people who are addicting any bad habits, they are under the lust of pleasures. The lust of pleasures, and the devil here is widening the gate. Those three things that we mentioned, remember the top part was what? Pride. And the side, materialism. And the other side, pleasure. Those three are the different lusts that St. John mentioned. Remember when he said in the word there are a lust of flesh, lust of eye, pride of life, right? Lust of flesh. Flesh means what? Pleasures. Lust of eye means what? Materialism. I will give you all kingdom. Pride of life means what? The pride. Those are the three things in the world, and those are the three signs of the wide gate. We know the three signs of the wide gate. So the wide gate, number one, leads to what? Broad way or difficult way? Broad way. And that broad way leads to what at the end? Life or death? Death, right? And this way, many will go through it or few? Many, right? And the signs of this way, one is a pride, to be. And two is materialism, to have. Lust of what? Materialism, to have. Lust of eyes, lust of eye. And the third one? Pleasures. Pleasures is lust of flesh. If we have those three, then this is signs of the wide gate. Now, every one of us wants to go through the narrow gate. Every one of us wants to reach what? Life. The narrow gate has 3 steps, and those 3 steps related to, one related to self, yourself, myself. So number 1 related to self. And number 2 related to others. And number 3 related to God. 1, self. Self, to do. Self, things related to me, to do. Others, to be aware. And God, to trust. Self, to do. What should I do? Now, I know that there are signs for this wide gate. So first thing to do is to avoid those 3 things. Is to try to have a self-control. Is to try to have self-discipline. If I know these things, then I have to work on my self-control. I have to work on my senses. I have to work on my tongue. Sometimes I use my tongue without self-control. I don't know what I'm saying. And I keep using it for like idle talk and things that's useless. Sometimes I use my tongue for gossiping, for lying, for judging. If I don't have self-control, then I'm missing the first step, the first thing to go through the narrow gate. So first step for me for the narrow gate is self to do. One of the things that self to do is discipline, self-control, self-reproach. And another thing to do with myself is to carry the cross. This is the Lord Jesus Christ said, if you want to be a disciple, you have to carry the cross. You know there will be tribulation. You know it is difficult way. And you know it is narrow gate. Have you visited monasteries in old Egypt? Did you see the entrance of the monastery? Like how does it look like? Do you see like it's very narrow and it's very low? Like if you want to enter the monastery, like how you want to enter it, how you can do it? Like you do like this, right? Right? This is like, yeah, called like this is the same way. Because if you want to go through it, like if you want to go, you have to, there will be tribulations. It is hard, it is difficult. So this is the first thing related to who? To self. Self to do. The second thing, and this is important, with others. Others to be aware. Did you see the Gospel of Saint Matthew 7, like when he says about, in this same passage, when he was saying about all of these things, about this, like he said what? He said, beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravenous wolves. False prophets. There will be friends, and there will be false prophets, and there will be others who will try to make this white gate like it's okay. Like saying a lie, that's fine, it's just a white lie. Saying a gossip, we are not gossiping, we are not judging, it's nothing. He will try to even doubt your values, doubt your rules, doubt the commandment of God. You will see this a lot with others. And that's why the gospel is teaching us, when he's talking about the same passage, he's teaching about the false prophets, to beware of false prophets. Beware, because there are many, right? There are many, and they will trying, out of peer pressure, out of influence, try to widen the gate. So as I said, some people will try to widen this, and other people try to widen this, and some people will try to this, right? So beware of others. So number one, first step, self to do, and second step, others to be aware. The third thing is God to trust. Do not be afraid. Do not be troubled. Yes, it is difficult, and yes, there are few will be enter, but do not be afraid, because God in control. And if you trust God only, and His grace and His help and His support, you will be able to go through this. Through the grace of God, Saint Augustine, when he repented, in his confession, in his book of Confession of Saint Augustine, he said, I became on the top of the mountain of the world when I did not desire anything from the world. Before, yes, I used to desire everything in the world. I used to desire everything. I want to have a lust of flesh, and I want to have the lust of eye, and I want to have the pride of life. I want to be famous, and I want to try every pleasure in the world. But now, after I repented, what did he do? I do not want anything from this world, through the grace of God only. And that's why we see in the narrow gate, it is difficult, and but it leads to life, and few who finds it. All what you see now is just temporary. Like when we see the wide gate and the narrow gate, it's just temporary. Yes, a few years, even those years, like 100 years, they are few. Why? Because compared to the eternity, it is few. So if it is wide during this few years, but later on will lead to death for eternity, so it's worth to try that narrow gate, which is difficult through this few years, but it will lead to what? It will lead to life. So there are 3 tips to go and to go on the narrow gate. What are the 3 tips? 1, self, and 2, with others, and 3, with God. Self to do through disciplining, through self-control, through carrying the cross. And second thing, with others, be aware with others. And the third things, with God, to to trust God, trust His grace. Glory be to God forever and ever. Amen.